Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. The passing of Hurricane Beryl is long gone, yet the nation is still feeling the effects, particularly in our agriculture sector. The portfolio agency of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has been one of the hardest hit by the aftermath of the hurricane. Just late last year, coconut farmers in St. Mary and St. Thomas received vital supplies from the Coconut Industry Board, CIB, including fertilizers, seedlings, spray packs, all of that to help boost the sector. So joining us today are Sean Cameron, Chief Executive Officer of the Coconut Industry Board, and Zachary Michael Black, Operations Manager at Michael Black Farms Limited. They're here to discuss the challenges currently facing the coconut industry and the strategies in place to address these issues. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Let's jump right into getting some facts here. Okay, coconut industry. For some people, myself perhaps included, the face of the coconut industry is the coconut seller on the road. Beyond that, what is the coconut industry and what's going on in the industry right now?
All right, thank you for that. The coconut industry is a multi-million-dollar industry and has existed from the 1930s. The Coconut Board was the Coconut Marketing Board in the 1930s, and based on our partnership with the British government in 1945, we became the Coconut Industry Board based on the Coconut Control Act.
Right.
We used to procure copra from the coconut farmers throughout the island and ship the copra off to England and other Caribbean countries and other North American and South American countries as a way of earning revenue for the country. In 1960s, the lethal yellowing disease came about that started to destroy the sector, and we lost our copra manufacturers because our native coconut tree, the Jamaican tall, was susceptible to the lethal yellowing. In 1959, the Coconut Industry Board created a research arm that was focused on managing and culling the lethal yellowing disease. So from 1960s to 1990s, we lost 9 million trees, basically destroyed our sector.
Right.
1 million trees due to Gilbert in 1989.
Okay.
However, based on the intervention of the Coconut Board through research, we were able to resuscitate the industry. We had a planting program that we gave free seedlings and fertilizers to our farmers, provide technical expertise to help grow the industry. We're up to estimated 4 million trees now back in the sector.
All right.
Yes.
So what do we get from, apart from just coconut that you buy on the road and you chop and you open, and what else we get out of the coconut industry?
Well, our largest coconut agro-processor is Michael Black Farms, and he was in coconut water, and then he switched to coconut oil, but I make Mr.
Coconut
Black,
oil?
Yes.
Mr.
Okay.
Black speak on that.
Yes, so coconut is one of the most viable products that you can have. You can make so many products from the nut.
All right.
So the husk itself can be broken down. You can create copra, which is the dust, and the fiber, which is used in planting, packaging,
Right.
mats, welcome mats, all of that. That is a whole industry
Jamaican
itself.
staple, that brown mat.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
the brown mat. Then you go into production of the jelly. You have jelly, you can make jelly water.
Right.
You can package jelly meat. You wait a little longer in some time, you can get a dry coconut. As we know, when you cook Sunday dinner, you have that. You have the oil you can make from it, which we do. We make 100% virgin cold-pressed coconut oil. No additives, no preservatives, straight from the nut to the bottle.
Right, right.
You have coconut now, coconut ice cream coming out. You have coconut sugar. You have so much byproducts being studied and brought to the market now. Rather than back in the day, as you said, the jelly man on the road. There's so much products to be found. We're actually 100% renewable farm.
Okay.
There's zero waste in any of our products.
Everything is used for
Absolutely,
something.
absolutely.
So when we say coconut shortage in Jamaica, we're not just talking about the lack of jelly coconut on the side of the road. We're talking about many industries being impacted like that.
Correct.
So what's driving the shortage? Is it just
So, no, climate change
Okay.
and access to affordable lands for the farmers. And predial larceny is a major issue affecting the industry also.
Tell me more about that last one.
So our hybridization farm, the only hybridization farm in this hemisphere, where we create the Mapan coconuts, which we distribute to our farmers, what's a substitute for the Jamaican tall that was destroyed by the lethal yellowing. Initially, a couple of years ago, we were using 40% of our production due to predial larceny.
40%.
40%.
40%.
40%. All right. Based on intervention, we employ rangers, we work with the local police, but the stealing is random. So what we had to do recently was invest in a security firm, which has increased the cost of production because you're paying additional security now.
Right.
So we're able to stem that production loss to our hybridization farm. But a lot of farmers who don't have the capital or resources don't have the ability to pump these resources into protecting their farms. So one of the initiatives that the Coconut Industry Board has done is create farmer groups where we have group of farmers working together as a team where they can share resources and then can share security. We're looking now to work with the pre-larceny arm of government to help our farmers get cameras and the necessary toolkits to better able to stem and manage the pre-larceny issues that we're facing.
Got it, predator larceny. Sir Black, you can give us a bit more about the shortage. Like,
Yes.
are there any other elements to the shortage?
So as Mr. Cameron said, that the biggest issue is the weather, the change of climate. We're supposed to be preparing ourselves for a drought.
Okay.
And we're preparing ourselves, if you watch the weather reports, there's going to be rain every day, or every week there's a preparation of rain, which does affect production because we use a lot of manpower. So to go and to reap the coconuts itself, if it rains or there's lightning and stuff, they cannot do that. The landscape is also a big issue.
Right.
Because our farm itself and a lot of farmers don't have flat land. We have hills. There's a lot of hill structures and that. So it has to do with tractors going and collecting the coconuts. Tractors are being run off the road, skidding. So there's no reaping of the product and the nut itself to create it. So that's a big issue. With dry coconuts that we use, coconut takes 7 years to grow from planting a seedling to first production.
Okay.
A lot of people use coconut water, which is a younger stage of the nut, which is a jelly. That's what we are known for. If you know that you go away overseas and you get that can, and it doesn't taste the same because that's a more acidic, it's a mature coconut that's used.
Right.
Jamaicans are used to the jelly. It's a fresher, more sweeter taste.
Right.
So a dry coconut takes up to 10 to 11 months to be used as a dry coconut. The longer it stays on the tree is the more oil that we can extract from the nut itself. So that's a big issue too with that. The rains has caused because we do need sun too.
Right.
So if there's, as it's in nature, anything, if something gets too much water, it's not the best for it.
Got it.
If it's too much sun, it withers out. So it's a mixture that we're working with. We're just starting to get some form of sun. So the production has started to turn in our favor and get some sort of an increase. But it's things that back in the days, you would say, okay, we're expecting drought from X to X time of the month. Now we have to take it week by week to see what's going to happen because...
We're going to have to go to a small break right now, but this is fascinating. More on the discussion with Sean Cameron, Chief Executive Officer of the Coconut Board, and Zachary Michael Black, Operations Manager at Michael Black Farms Limited, when we return after the break. Please stay with us.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Original.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. Now that we have learned the challenges, we want to move on to the brighter pastures with what do we do about them. Sir Black, we've spoken about the predator last night. We've spoken about the climate, right? No business or industry can survive by saying, oh, that's just what happens. So what do we do? What do we do?
So as you know, I'm a third generation farmer. My brother and I have came into what my father built and my grandfather has built.
Right.
Michael Black is a name that we all share and we believe in, and it's something that you have to be passionate about.
Yeah.
Farming is not what Jamaicans think. When you think of farming, you think of elderly gentleman or woman back in the, we're here to show that there's a new face, there's a younger face, that farming and the industry in Jamaica needs to get the youth involved.
And it can work for
It
them.
can work. It absolutely can work. It's, and we're not saying that, the coconut is what you need to go to, but there's so much more viable
Right.
things in agriculture to look at. And with, as we were saying, with coconut, there's so much different products that you can go into, and the market is there.
Right, right. Well, on the ground, so
Yes.
your holdings are, you gave me a sense of it. How many acres?
About 800 acres.
800 acres.
Yes.
All right, so that's a lot of land,
Yes.
a lot of trees. Sir Cameron, you mentioned predial last name, like on the ground. How do we address that?
So,
Because 800 acres.
yes. So as you say, it's hard to have manpower controlling 800 acres or fencing off 800 acres.
Yeah.
So we do have rotating security systems that we do have. We have men in the area working in the fields. We have security on ground. We have implemented use of technology. Technology is a very big aspect that farmers nowadays are afraid of. So we have the use of Starlink systems to get better internet systems up there.
Right.
The use of drones to secure the areas to make sure we can cover all 800 acres in a matter of minutes or seconds that we need to do. Implementation of camera systems in the bushes that can be triggered and be caught in areas that we know we're having.
Motion sensing.
Absolutely. So it's the use of technology and implementing those things to help us get through these difficult times and get better production, better numbers, so we can give the market what they want.
Got it. Sir Cameron, sun, rain, that's the sky.
Yeah.
What support can the Coconut Board offer to farmers who have gone through burial, going through rain when it should be dry now? What help?
All right, so we have advisory officers that provide technical expertise to our farmers, hold their hands per se, and help them deal with various scenarios. Burial, I should put some coconut facts. A coconut tree can withstand a category 3 hurricane. Is one of the most resilient crops anybody can look to invest in. But what we have done based on our climate smart training is like we train the farmers how to deal with an emergency situation. You know, when a hurricane is coming, you remove the nuts, the dry nuts and the susceptible nuts from your trees. You know that you clean out the orchard, clean your irrigation, limb down those trees that are sterile so you don't have debris and falling trees and stuff like that. So that has helped reduce the impact of hurricane on the sector. Also, we have worked with Newport First Hand to come up with a blend of fertilizer that sustains the different stages of coconut development. When you have the vegetative stage where you need good root development, there's a fertilizer for that. And then when you have the fruiting stage where you need good quality nuts, you have the fertilizer for that.
Or making that available to the farmers?
Yes, First Hand, our partners, yes, it's available to our farmers now. For the farmers that are registered with the Coconut Industry Board, because as I said, run as a business.
Right.
The registered farmers, they're able, under the registration, they get 500 free seedlings over a 5-year period.
You said that so fast, 500
free seedlings. Yes, I know it's an anomaly that we probably need to change in the future. They get weed grant and they get fertilizer for the first 3 years of development because we want the tree to hold firm in the soil.
Right.
And then we provide that technical expertise where we hold their hand and get them the technical knowledge how to plan properly and implement the climate change solutions that I spoke about earlier. In essence, there wouldn't have been a coconut industry without the Coconut Industry Board. And we don't only provide technical expertise and knowledge to Jamaica, we provide it for the entire Caribbean. And we sit at an international level when it comes to the international coconut community, where our scientists represent Jamaica well and has won international awards and recognition for what we have done. But we also lead the coconut development right across the world.
Right. So in our previous segment, you mentioned the fact that we're investing more in security. That will impact prices. So businesses will naturally pass that on to the customer.
Yes.
So the shortage does drive prices up.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yes, it does.
But you've mentioned a few strategies going forward. Is there anything else that innovation that we can look at in maintaining stability and resilience?
Well, research is important for any industry. And we're constantly doing research to come up with better varieties that the number one factor is lethal yellowing resistance. And then the second factor would be production and how early it fruits. You know, Zachary mentioned 7 years. If we can get a variety that fruits in 2 years, 3 years,
Yeah, that would be a
production
boon.
will increase good. And we're focusing, one of our strategies now is to focus with large-scale farmers, those who have the capital, like a True Juice and people with massive landmass who has the capital and resources to help grow the industry.
And what I'm getting from what we have said up until this point is that there is a shortage, but there are efforts and strategies in place to counter that shortage and recover from it in short order, relatively speaking. We're right here at the end of the interview, but I want to give you gentlemen a moment to unburden the heart and speak directly to the audience. And in particular, Sir Cameron, you know, you mentioned the working with larger farmers and the need for landmass, Sir Black. Not everyone has that. Should we not go into coconut farming then if I don't have 200 acres?
No, man.
So, gentlemen, both of you can take
right.
10 seconds each and speak to the audience.
Look, I always say this, when you think about an island, what comes to mind is beach and a coconut tree in the middle. The coconut board is a staple of Jamaica. It's part of our history. For those of you who used to polish your floor, you remember the coconut brush? You know, we have this thing say coconut water wash off your heart. So them say a beer clean people work at coconut industry board and in the coconut industry. So when you think about coconut, we are Jamaica. We have brought back the industry from the brink of disaster to now where there's a third generation farmer. We encourage anybody, whether you have a little piece of land, plant 2 coconut trees around the back. You know, if you have 5 acres, 10 acres, we don't refuse you. Mass is important to us. And we want to grow the sector. We want to focus on pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals. So our research is not just limited to varieties of coconut. We want to do research into other value-added products and partnering with our partners overseas where they have universities overseas that does research in coconut. We're able to access that information and share within our local environment and build our industry. So I encourage everybody who is Jamaican to plant out a coconut tree, support the sector. The Coconut Industry Board is one of the oldest institutions.
Thank you, Sir Cameron. Sir Black, your final word.
So to start off with, I hear the calls, I hear the pleas. We're pushing and we're trying to get back on track. We're trying to get back the supply that you guys are used to seeing on the shelves, to have Miss Dawn's in your kitchen to help you. As Mr. Cameron said, there's so much value-added products. There's health with the product of coconut oil, the low cholesterol that it helps, the heart health that gives it as cooking. When you cook with it, it has a high cooking temperature, which helps you with anything that you're cooking with it. It has beauty aspects with oil pulling with your teeth, help for nutrients in your hair, your skin. There's an absolutely booming beauty industry, which uses majority of the coconut oil as a base product to help. So I'm just encouraging, there's so much value-added products that you can look. It's not just a coconut that you cut off and drink on the roadside when you land or when you're thirsty. There's so much products that's there and that Jamaica has not even been introduced to. Do the research, look at it, see what's there, see what's good for you and see what's healthy. And I just said, if I can do it, you can do it, because we are the nation, the kids, the generation, younger generation is what's going to continue to grow Jamaica and brand Jamaica.
Yeah, the younger generation. Coconut, good for the heart, good for the nation. This has been Get the Facts. Our guests were Sean Cameron, Chief Executive Officer of the Coconut Industry Board, and Zachary Michael Black, Operations Manager at Michael Black Farms Limited. Thank you for watching. Thank you for planting. And until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.